Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers, so if you don't want to know that Colonel Glover nukes Louisville, stop listening now.
The International House of Horror.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the International House of Horror podcast. I'm your host, the MadPancaker, and joining me is my co-host, or minion more appropriately, Scary Perry.
How's it going, MadPancaker, Rocco?
It's going good, Perry. All right, give you guys a brief synopsis of what this podcast is going to be about. So each time we're going to be reviewing a horror movie of mainly our choosing, maybe some of your choosings down the line. We'll look at those options later on down the line when we become more established with this and get more familiar with this. And we'll upgrade to better equipment and it'll sound better in the future. But for right now, it's very ad hoc. So yeah, each time we're going to review a horror movie and we're going to talk about it, go into over the plot information, whatnot, give our 2 bits about it. So for this first episode, we're going to be talking about a slasher film from the 80s. What year was it?
89.
1989. A little film called Intruder. If you look at as I have the DVD box right here in my hand, now if you look at this, Scary Perry,
Yeah.
this box really wants you to know a few things about this film, doesn't it?
Sure, certainly does.
It really wants you to know that it stars Bruce Campbell of, as it quotes, The Evil Dead and Army of Darkness fame, and
Sam Raimi.
he can't see this because he's across the table, but director of Spider-Man, Darkman, and The Gift. But not The Evil Dead or Army of Darkness. Those weren't important because they were already set under the Bruce Campbell thing. And it's got the tagline on there. He's just crazy about this store. I want to hear Perry. Perry, say that line for me. I want to hear it.
He's just crazy about this store.
I love it. And another thing, as you see this guy holding a meat cleaver in this like blue work shirt and blue jeans, I mean, his face is kind of shadowed, but come on. There's only one person in this movie this guy could be, so it pretty much ruins who the killer is in this, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just looking at that, I know that right off the bat.
He's got a weird looking mustache, kind of like yours.
I love my mustache. Come on, man.
You know I'm gonna throw some shade at you in this. Just general ribbing though, nothing serious. Now, if looking at the back of the DVD box we got here, this was directed by, let me find it here. I know he also wrote it. Yeah, he did the screenplay, he directed it, and he co-wrote the story for it. Scott Spiegel. It also stars Elizabeth Cox, Danny Hicks, which I believe he played. Why does his name escape me? I always remember the name of his girlfriend in that movie, Bobby Joe. I can never forget Bobby Joe because he shouts it relentlessly. But I believe he plays Jake. I think his name's Jake.
Jake from State Farm.
From Evil. Yeah, Jake from State Farm.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his name's Jake from in Evil Dead 2. And I believe he passed away not too long ago from cancer. So that's very sad. So rest in peace, Danny Hicks. If it's the person I'm thinking of. Don't know if you know anything, but this podcast, I mean, if you want to know stuff, you can look it up on Wikipedia. Although I'm sure Scary Perry, who actually forgot his notes, so he doesn't have all this information on him.
It's all in my head.
He had it all written out, all this Wikipedia-style information. I'm just like, nah, screw that. We're just going to talk about the movie. They all have Google and phones and stuff. They can look up this shit on their own.
You don't have notes? What's
I have
that
notes.
stack?
Hey, these
probably
notes...
just random words.
Hey, these notes...
You spun the wheel 3 times.
Yeah, I'm just spinning. You're the ones that spins the wheel. But no, my notes were taken as I watched the movie, commenting on the movie. I did have some stuff here because I'm going over the back of the box. And I remember reading this online. You can look it up to confirm with me. The back of the box says, it's 10 p.m. the night before Walnut Lake's neighborhood supermarket closes its door forever. The owners and night crew have a long shift ahead of them. Longer than they think. Ace checkout girl Jennifer, played by Lethal Weapon's Renee Estevez, has a deranged ex-boyfriend who is fresh out of prison. When he appears outside, weird things start happening. The phone lines are cut, and the night crew starts dying one by one in the most gruesome ways imaginable. An ex-cop is trying to find out who the killer is and what possessed him to start the bloody rampage. But is it the ex-boyfriend or is it someone else? And they really want you to think it's the ex-boyfriend. So there's a glaring error on the back of this box in that Renee Estevez, I believe, plays Jennifer's friend, Linda.
Yeah.
And I think, because I remember reading about it online after we watched this the first time, I believe Elizabeth Cox actually plays Jennifer. I don't know if you can confirm that.
Yeah, it's Elizabeth.
Yeah. So, and like, I even remember reading that the box had a glaring error, and I'm like, now is Renee Estevez, is she of Estevez fame? Or is it just a coincidence?
No, she is.
Okay,
Her
that's
brother is Emilio. Emilio. And I was like, Emilio, and he's like,
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I remember reading that too.
So that means
not that I'm not going to do any research, but I'm not going to go out of my way to like jot down research to feed to you people.
You know,
that'll be Scary Perry's job. He's got to do something.
Charlie Sheen's also her brother.
That's correct.
And Martin Sheen's her
dad.
the
dad. Yep.
And Janet Templeton is the mom.
There you go.
All right.
There's some more backstory for you. See, we don't call the kid the Associated Press for nothing.
That's right, AP.
All right. So another big thing on the back of this, and this was I was trying to mention this earlier. Special makeup effects by Greg Nicotero, Robert Kurtzman, and Howard Berger. I don't know if Howard Berger is one of the guys that does all that stuff, but obviously Greg Nicotero and Robert Kurtzman I recognize. I hope I'm not leaving out like I'm just shitting on Howard Berger because I don't remember his name. Maybe he's one of these three guys that always does stuff, but obviously right now they're famous for Walking Dead fame. I believe Greg Nicotero is also an executive producer on the new Creep Show, anthology show that they have going right now on Shudder and whatnot. And obviously Greg Nicotero, he's been in, and Robert Kurtzman, they've been in the business forever. And good stuff. So, I mean, already looking promising just looking at the cast and whatnot. Front of the box really plays up Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. And Sam Raimi's actually in the movie a decent amount, but Bruce Campbell, not so much, right?
Yeah. Not very much at all.
Not so much. So,
but yet he's on the prominently.
Oh yeah,
displayed on the front of that
build.
DVD box.
It's just like Jack Nicholson in Little Shop of Horrors, the original from Roger Corman back in the day. All the generic. Oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Public domain, yeah, because it's probably public domain now. All the generic public domain DVDs that you can buy that from. Really want you to know Jack Nicholson's in it, even though he's in like one sequence of events. So they're pulling a Little Shop of Horrors there after the fact.
I think we're going to see that in a lot of movies we do.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Anyways, I guess we can get into a little bit of the plot breakdown here and run through what happens in this. You ready, Scary Perry?
Oh yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So it opens with this generic moonlight sky with clouds and whatnot, full moon opening, which is funny because this DVD I have was released by Full Moon Features. So I don't know at what point in the line they picked up distribution rights to it, but the actual production company was Phantom Productions in the opening credits. And it's got this spooky, stereotypical music that sets the ambiance of the events to happen as it rolls the credits. We establish our location as the Walnut Lake Market. Would you say it's a mom and pop place?
I mean, I think it's pretty
It's
for the
decent
80s,
size, but
I think
it's almost kind of like our local Sparkle Market almost in size comparison and whatnot, and like atmosphere too.
It's not a big town, I guess it's portrayed. I mean, they call it Walnut Lake, Michigan, and it's based on where Scott Spiegel grew up in Michigan.
Okay, yeah. See, Scary Perry.
So it's got to be it's small town. Yeah. So with the Sparkle equivalent, you're correct.
So we get this opening shot with a camera set up in a shopping cart as it's being pushed around, and I'm not gonna lie, that's just pure cinematography genius.
Oh my! Oh my God, the cinematography in this movie is amazing. The camera placement, I feel like they were just experimenting
Yeah,
with
I
stuff.
feel like it was influenced a lot like how Sam Raimi with Evil Dead did all sorts of crazy camera angles and Dutch angles and stuff like that and was just like going for it. And I imagine that, I don't know the background between Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel in this, but I imagine they were probably friends considering Ted Raimi's going to make an appearance later on and Bruce Campbell's in there. So I'm assuming that this guy was a friend of theirs. So that's why they're all in this movie. And that probably had some influence on all the stuff he tries to do with the camera. Yeah, I love it. It's just like put a camera in a shopping cart. Brilliant.
It was, it was.
As that shopping cart's being pushed around, it goes to it introduces the store and we're focused on these two checkout girls who are having a random conversation here. But this old guy, Mr. Everett, he's just trying to check out and he's just like, am I interrupting something here? Come on, Barry, chime in over there.
Yeah, he he comes in there. He's getting in their business. It seems like I don't know. And then
He doesn't you don't have your notes.
I don't know. Hey, on the fly here. I don't have my notes this
That's all right.
time.
I'm the real star of this
Yeah,
podcast, anyways. I
all
mean,
right.
what? Oh man, we completely forgot that. So obviously, the International House of Horror name is a play on the International House of Pancakes. So, I'm the Mad Pancaker. Mad Pancaker moniker is another long story for another day. But I went all in on the theme here, so I guess we're supposed to pretend that this place that we're doing this in is like a diner of some sort. But the service seems terrible here because I still haven't had a waitress come by. Who was that waitress that we came in? Deloris? God damn it, Deloris, where's my fucking pancakes?
So at one point in the scene, this older gentleman, there's some when one of the clerks or the cashiers is checking out, it's a couple. They're making out. He tells this couple to hold hands, you lovebirds.
Okay.
I mean,
Do I even have that in here in my notes?
I guess he was known for saying this line in the Three Stooges. Apparently, he was a regular on Three Stooges, not a
Ah.
stooge, but a regular.
We're talking about the old guy
And
still?
it's written on this guy's.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
It's written on this guy's tombstone in real life.
Oh wow. See, I didn't realize that this guy had like a claim to fame other than just being a random guy in this movie.
When I first saw it, I thought he was the old guy of the toy store in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Oh,
Duncan's toy chest.
okay.
He reminded me of him, but I tried to look and
I
I
gotcha.
don't think it
I've
was.
done that before where I watch something, I'm like, man, this guy sounds like he could be this guy, and then it's not. Yeah. And poor Mr. Everett, I think that's his name. It was hard for me to hear, and I'm like, hey, if I'm not doing research, I'm not rewinding this DVD to figure out what his name is. Although I did rewind quite a lot for my notes just to make sure. But yeah, his bags rip as he's walking out because they just give him like the cheap plastic bags. That's why you always go paper, man, right?
No, they gave him paper and then they gave him
Like,
plastic.
oh, they gave him. Did he really get the paper? Well, that's why you're supposed to double bag all the heavy stuff.
Well, clearly these cashiers had other things on their mind that night.
Apparently. Oh yeah, because they're like talking about their hot dates or whatnot.
Yes.
So yeah, Jennifer goes outside to round up some carts, and we get some stinger music, which is going to be happening quite a lot in this movie because her ex is watching her, and we get some more camera in the cart.
A camera in the cart.
God, genius. There needs to be more cameras in shopping carts in movies. I'm just saying, people. Let's make it happen.
It presents a jump scare that really isn't a
Yeah,
jump
because I think
scare.
it's just a cart that rolls up and you expect the boyfriend to be there, but he's gone already. Oh, and then so when she goes back inside, there's the reflection of the X in the door as, the sliding doors as they close. Are they sliding doors or are they just regular doors? This place might not be fancy enough
No,
for
the
sliding
regular doors.
That's what I
because
thought.
they lock them later with a key.
Well, you can still lock
I
sliding
mean, you can lock
doors.
sliding doors, but
Yeah, but
it pushes open. So.
yeah, that's what I thought because I would have remembered the automatic thing and there probably would have been a door chime to let you know the door opened. Yeah, you see the reflection of the X as the door closes and then it gives the stinger music again. Bum bum bum. Back inside, good old Craig, he's Jennifer's ex here. So he wanders up to the checkout to try to buy some cigarettes and we get another stinger. Like I said, there's a lot of stinger in this, which is not unusual for jump scare parts where you throw in the stinger music.
I mean, we also get stinger music in this movie, and then we get Sting.
We do get Sting. We'll get to that. That's coming up soon. We'll get to that in a
Well, okay.
moment.
All right,
Whether
sorry.
we'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, back inside, Craig's checking out, and he's really just there because he wants Jennifer back. So there's some arguing going on, and Linda pushes the the call button. It's not a panic button because it just rings a bell in the office. But in the back office, the two owners, they check through the window,
Well,
see
I
what's
mean,
going
at
on.
first they're like, the one owner's doing the officers like just like don't bother with it, but
Yeah, he just doesn't care, and you'll find out he's
and
a
then
dick
but they
later
have
on.
like a window, like a sliding window to look out into the street.
Yeah, but it's covered in black though. It's like all blacked over, so you can see out, but you can't see in, so it's tinted.
That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
but so you don't know people are looking. It's almost
I
like
mean,
a camera,
it's good.
but
It's like a
that comes into play
security.
later on.
Yeah, it does.
So Craig goes to try to pay for his cigarettes, but he grabs Jen's hand when he's giving her the change, and a fight ensues, and he gives her a good old slap across the face there, gives her his pimp hand, and so just an all-out brawl kind of breaks out between Craig and all the store guys. All of them start coming out. There's some shoving back and forth. He gets tackled by the one owner. And then they get him in one of those arm locks, and the one guy just starts fucking wailing on him over and over. But then he like drop kicks him and breaks free and shit like that. I think he drop kicks him.
So you know what I think? The whole time I'm watching this scene take place, you know what I'm thinking here?
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Diet Pepsi.
Diet Pepsi, that's right, because Sam Raimi, I don't even think Sam Raimi's involved in the fight yet. And he just kind of walks by and's like seeing what the commotion's going on, and he gets tossed into the freaking Diet Pepsi display. I don't know how much of the sponsorship cash came from Pepsi. I'm guessing it's a lot.
Well, actually, this was filmed in a real grocery store in Bell, California, after hours. It was filmed
It was filmed during hours.
filmed over the course of 2 weeks. The movie budget, well, it's not accurate. It's between $100,000 and $130,000.
I love those budgets.
But I also read somewhere else that they filled the shelves with discontinued and dented stock, which I really don't think, because you see a lot of products in this movie.
Well, it could be expired.
Oh yeah,
You know, out
expired.
of date. Like it's like,
But if
oh,
they
it's a week
filmed
past
that
the.
at a actual supermarket after hours, unless it's like a discount supermarket.
Yeah, I'm not sure because kind of reminds me of when they filmed Dawn of the Dead. They had to film everything, so I don't know how much of the stock they were allowed to interact with and had to reset up or whatnot. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But anyways,
Be interesting.
of the
Yeah.
scuffle, the Diet Pepsi
Oh,
display was a
Diet
centerpiece.
Pepsi goes everywhere. Poor Sam Raimi. Always getting thrown into stuff. That's a common theme amongst in Sam Raimi things, like especially early on Evil Dead and whatnot. They would just abuse their bodies and, get thrown into shelves or throw themselves into walls and shit. Good stuff. After this, Craig's free in the store and he's running all over, and they end up calling the cops. And then so meanwhile they look for him. I wrote down look for Ray, but I don't know who Ray is, unless Ray's one of the owners, so they go to look for him. I think Ray must be the other owner. We'll see that
I
in
think
my
both the
notes.
owners came down during the scuffle, but yeah.
Well, he comes down later. Bill, yeah, because Bill's the one owner. That's coming up here in a second, and they go looking for him. But yeah, so there's some ominous music and whatnot. But Sam Raimi, which I think is his character's name Randy. I think it is Randy.
Randy, he's the butcher.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling him Sam half the time, but I do have later on in my notes when his name finally gets mentioned, his name is Randy in the movie.
Yeah, he's the butcher of the supermarket.
Yes. So he looks up at the attic ladder, and could this be some foreshadowing for future events? Possibly.
Yes, good.
So yeah, they're looking. In fact, a lot of this is just foreshadowing because they go looking in the butcher's area and the meat processing area. They check the bathroom. And one owner checks the bathroom. And he finds a different surprise for him. One of the not so pleasant nature to find. And he just flushes the toilet and walks away.
They should have put a camera in the toilet.
Toilet camera. It kind of was angled up. It wasn't in the toilet, but it was like from the angle. He just looks and you see his face, and he's just like, he shakes his head and he walks away. And he flushes as he walks away. And then next, so they're at like this, because there's actually two different like slides. One's a conveyor belt that actually goes like conveys things up or down. And then there's like just another just generic slide that's just a slide. I believe it's like for throwing cardboard boxes and stuff down, for like garbage, breaking up and whatnot.
To go to the...
So one guy, he comes on down the box slide, and it's good old Ted Raimi coming in with a fake jump scare. as he slides down and he startles, I forget who he startles. That's one of the other guy characters, I believe. Man, I love me some Ted Raimi.
He's a produce guy.
Ted Raimi, yes.
Okay.
Ted Raimi makes every movie better.
This guy is hilarious. But so he's listening to headphones, right? He has headphones on
Yeah.
the entire movie. Okay.
Entire movie.
So when you see him, nearly every time except once, we'll talk about it later, it plays the same exact like generic diddly of music. It sounds like generic like Talking Heads music or
I
something.
didn't think of it this time, but it almost sounds like it could be, especially when it slows down later on, which we'll cover that. It almost sounds like it reminds me of an Evil Dead. I believe Evil Dead 1, where they go into the basement and the recorder gets turned on and it's playing this like old-timey generic music where it's like do 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 do. Pardon my impression of that music, if you know what I'm talking about. It was terrible, but it kind of sounds like that.
It sounds new wave-ish, you know.
Yeah, but it also kind of reminds me of that. I don't think it is that like old-timey tune because it does sound more rockish, but I think especially later on when it slows down, it could just be it's reminding me of the scene when the music player in Evil Dead slows down too, which could be the only parallel in why I think it sounds like it. And then again, it could also completely not sound like it because just going from memory here, I don't even have that in my notes. It's just something I kind of popped in my head on the fly there. Anyway, so where'd we? Oh yeah, so Ted Raimi came sliding down. So the guy fills Ted in that they're looking for Craig. Ted Raimi just like, yeah, I kicked his ass once. And I'm just like, and if you took one look at Ted Raimi and one look at Craig, you're like, there's no way in hell that ever happened. Like, you just know he's just full of shit there.
Oh boy.
So Linda gets jump scared by Tim, which I think that's like her kind of sort of love interest in this, if I remember correctly. It's either Tim or Dave. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly find myself calling these people, other than Jennifer and Linda, because I think are they the only two females in this? I think so. There's only the two of them, right? Well, other than, I think there's like a random woman with a guy that tries to come to the store later, but I think they're the only two women.
Yeah, it's just Linda and Jennifer. Yeah.
Maybe.
Linda. There's a Linda. Linda.
Linen pockets. Maybe there is another one. I can't remember. We'll find out here as my notes go along. So they have a group meeting because they think he might be in the attic. But he also tells them, no beer on the job. Good old boss has to ruin the good times for everybody. But as they go up there, the ladder rung breaks on the one owner, Bill. He's just like, screw it. If he's got to come back down through that broken ladder step now. So anyways, Jennifer, she's still calling the cops. But Craig shows up. Bum. And hilariously, what's he do, Perry?
He asks for his change.
Yes, he asks for his change. Like straight up just ignoring all the other events that came up. And I'm like, that's comedy gold there. That's the type of comedy you like to see in a horror movie.
He probably got in a scuffle. And he just like walked into the corner of the store and read like a magazine, and nobody saw him.
He's reading that Sting magazine.
Yeah, and then he comes back up and he just wants his change.
Which I don't think has it been mentioned. Yeah, it's coming up. I think it's on my next page of notes. So, but he tries to kiss her. But anyways, so the rest of the employees come to the rescue and they finally throw him out of the store and lock at him. They lock him out of the store. And there's just kind of like this stare down, but Sam Raimi just tells him to move the fuck off, and I thought that was hilarious. Just because you don't see Sam Raimi too much in things. Like, he's usually behind the camera. Like, he may have played some like random body parts, like Ted Raimi did in The Evil Dead, but he's almost always behind the camera. So it's fun to see him just say something random like that because you don't kind of expect that out of him for being like a director,
I just want to go back just a few seconds.
Sure.
When Jen's on the phone, it's a rotary phone.
Did I not have this in my notes?
And it has another weird cinematography thing where the camera is shooting upwards through the rotary phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I swore I wrote that in my notes, but I don't have it. What is this genius piece of
cinematography here? I'm like,
maybe I have it later.
Yeah, I knew
maybe it was when Linda was talking to, because I swore
she uses the phone a lot.
They do, but I think they only use that shot once. I know the shot, and it's one of those simple. It's almost like in Dawn of the Dead when they painted the crosshairs on the camera to resemble looking through the scope of a rifle. And yeah, it's this diagram of like the rotary phone layout on top of the camera lens, and it's another one of those brilliant moments that's just like, why don't we see this shit more often
I'm
in
like,
movies
why is
nowadays?
this happening? But wait,
But you
this
love
is
every minute.
great.
It makes no sense.
I like
It's
it.
just something. It's one of those things that they're just trying out, and it clearly doesn't work, but the charm of it makes it work and makes it enjoyable to see.
Anyways, back to the
Yeah.
Craig gets
But
the
yeah, good old Sam Raimi tells him to move the fuck off. Sam Raimi, folks, director of Spider-Man, and telling people to move the fuck off.
Still go get Bonesaw.
So afterwards, with the Craig threat removed and they're waiting on the cops to show up, Bill and the other guy,
We'll just say Ray, whatever.
I believe it's Ray. I have it later in my notes because, again, it was one of those, I went back in my notes and typed the name once and then found it later on when I was watching because,
How about
Like-
just
like
the,
any-
the two owners of the store?
right.
You know,
Bill, I know Bill because, I mean, he looks suspiciously a lot like this guy on the front of the box
don't say.
holding a meat cleaver and, like,
Wait,
smiling all
let me
crazily,
see that again.
like he's going crazy. Doesn't he look...
Man. No, does he look like he's wearing like a jean? Jean
yeah.
shirt, the denim
Yeah.
shirt. You know.
I mean, why would I remember that guy's name?
Oh.
So anyways, so they break it to the crew that they're selling the store and that their jobs end on the 1st of the next month, which the box lies again because it says that the night before. Well, okay, so technically the night before Walnut Lake's neighborhood supermarket closes its doors forever. So I guess technically they could be closing the next day, but this makes it sound like the 1st is a little ways off.
Yeah, it makes it sound like they have.
But the back of the box makes it sound like this is it. Well, technically, I guess you could, by the interpretation, the actual, what's the word I'm thinking of? The intent of the statement could be interpreted as being the next day, but still, that was another lie on the back of the box. This back of the box is almost as bad as like Commando, where Commando's just like, John, is it, no, Matrix? Matrix is from Demolition Man. This is John. What's the John in Commando, right? Because John Matrix was... No, John Spartan was
Johnny
from
Rico?
Demolition Man.
No.
John Matrix was from Commando. I get those two confused a lot, but
don't forget about
where it's
Johnny
like,
Rico.
John Matrix must infiltrate this island dictatorship and overthrow the government in order to save his daughter. And it's like, yeah, none of that happens. He just fucking gets off the fucking plane and goes on a killing spree in the States. It's like, it's the biggest, like, misleading thing ever. I feel like Intruder's box is a lot like Commando's box in that matter. Sam Raimi, he's pissed because he's out 2 weeks paid vacation. And see, I have Randy in parentheses because see, I finally learned that his name was Randy at this point.
Yeah, they tell him to mark down everything.
Yep.
Half price.
Yep. And of course, Bill lets him know that it wasn't his idea because, you know, he loves the store. You might just say, just like this box says, he's just crazy about this store.
He's crazy about it.
But unfortunately, he's on the wrong side of the 49-51% ownership split. And to end the meeting, Bill says he has to go take a fasty. I think he says a fasty or nasty. Okay,
it's a fasty.
I'm like, at first I'm like,
it was in my own notes,
he
which
said
I don't
fasty?
have. Yeah,
but then I'm like, maybe he said nasty. So I put fasty down, but I put nasty in parentheses just because I'm like,
I've never heard anybody how to go to the
first off, I'm like, Jesus
say,
Christ, what's he got?
Fasty.
Like, he's got like the diarrhea shits, you know. So it's gonna be fast. I don't know about you, but like, you know, I'm not saying. I mean, I don't have, not to get too detailed about my bowel movements, but I'm not saying I have problems with my bowel movements, but at the same time, I'm not saying like it takes me 2 minutes and then I'm out of there, you know.
I mean, when you're crazy about something,
I guess, you know, he wants to get back to work. That's right. He needs to get back to marking down those prices with the rest of his employees. So we get more stinger music as we get a POV outside by the phone booth. And that's it. That's all I got for that part. Now we go back inside. So we got Sam Raimi. Yeah. I wanted to say Sam Randy because I have Sam and then Randy in parentheses. We got Sam Raimi, a.k.a. Randy, trying to tell Joe, which Joe is Ted Raimi's character, that he lost their jobs. But Ted Raimi doesn't hear a thing because he's too busy jamming on those headphones. And
we hear the same music.
Yep, it's the same song. He must really like that song. So then the store gets a phone call, and it's Craig, and we get some ominous music to go with the phone call.
Duh.
But the phone rings again, but I don't think they answer it, or maybe they wait to answer it, because I got some Jennifer. We get some exposition on Craig here. Craig went to prison apparently, so he's kind of a kind of a bad. That's what I was gonna say, but maybe more of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Because you find out later he's not the. Well, we'll get into that, but he's not as bad. So yeah, it pans over to Craig at the front door, and we get the zoom in on the Sting magazine cover. And we had some debate on whether this is Sting the singer, but I think it might be Sting the wrestler.
It's not Sting the wrestler.
Have you seen old Sting the wrestler though? Like
Yeah,
he
he
had the
was-
short yellow hair.
He was
though.
Surfer Sting. He
Yeah.
was buff. This guy.
He's got like that intense, and it looks like I want to say when I watched it the second time, because the first time I didn't notice.
I
The
tried.
second time I thought there was like face paint on him, which reminded me
he
because
had red face paint.
early Sting had
They
like
were like.
it almost looked like silver face paint on it. I can't remember because I don't have the image in front of me, so I'm not 100% sure.
So
Tell you what, if you know, let us know. Is it Sting the wrestler or Sting the musician?
the only thing that I read that I got off of IMDb about, I think it was I don't know if it was a TV guide or not, but they say that one of the goose in the movie is they show TV guides and the date keeps changing. That's because they filmed in a real supermarket, from day to day or whatever, or week to week. I mean, maybe it changes twice. I don't know how long TV guides go for. I haven't subscribed to one forever.
Yeah, I mean, talk about another thing that is on the
Yeah,
way of the
they
dodo,
got some
just
stuff.
based
They got
technology
a lot of
changes
stuff
and
in
whatnot.
that movie.
I mean, to
that
be fair,
doesn't exist.
just the cable guide button kind of like made TV guide pointless. But
the
the problems of the 90s and 80s,
they
where you
happen to
didn't know
be-
what was going to be on TV.
Yeah, and then also you see a payphone. We don't see those anymore.
Yeah, not too many of those around. You'll still find one here and there. Then again, to be fair, we talked about the rotary phone, and
Yeah,
like
my grandma still has one. Granted, she's 100 years old, but
I don't know if we still have our old one. I mean, it's not hooked up because we don't have a landline anymore, but we might still have one from just that we had from back in the day. Like half the people listening. Well, let's not kid ourselves. If there's anybody listening to this, we hope you are, and we greatly appreciate you listening. By the way, please subscribe to our podcast. So, anyways, Jen told Craig she didn't want to see him again. This is still the Jennifer's position we got going on here about the backstory to Craig. So yeah, apparently they were out one night, told him didn't want to see him again, and so he got in a fight and kills a dude on accident. Putting that in big air quotes there, because I mean. And then so we get the zoom in on the Sting cover. Okay, so here's where the phone thing happens, because I got the phone rings again, and then we get the phone cam, which, like we were talking about earlier, it's literally meant to look like it's inside the phone. And like I said, it's like Dawn of the Dead, where they just slapped a decal over the lens to make it look like it's inside the phone.
it's great.
It is great, but it's Linda's boyfriend, Teddy, who you'll never see in this movie.
Nope.
Only referenced on phone. I don't even know if you hear his voice on the phone, but and then we get another great camera shot here. We got the floor sweeping cam as Jen's sweeping up the dust on the floor. Which I wonder how they did that. Like if they just put a piece of like glass or plexiglass and like put some dirt over it so she could sweep it so that way the camera's on top or something. I have no idea, but I thought it was a neat scene.
I don't know, but
Don't know why it's in there. I mean, you couldn't convey that just by having her sweep. But again, it's Sam Raimi influence, so it's trying all sorts of different stuff, whether it works or not. Meanwhile, we got Sam in the butcher shop who's fooling around with the meat hooks, and we got various stalking scenes going on as they're going around marking down the things like the owners told them to. We got Dave and Jen. So yeah, Dave is the love interest here. And brief love interest. There's only about like maybe just a little bit of flirting and that's about it. But so they hit it off because hey, they're both single and ready to mingle because he's no longer seeing his girlfriend. So they set up a hot date for Saturday night. And so now this is where the box conveyor comes in and Dave hops on it and leaves, and because Bill walks in on him talking about hooking up and whatnot. And then Bill and Jen have a little bit of a chit chat. I think he says give her a recommendation wherever she wants to go and whatnot. So we got the stoner and Linda. I don't know. I think I got the stoner's name later. He just sounds, I guess I shouldn't call him a stoner. He sounds more like a surfer. But does he give you a stoner vibe?
Yeah, a bit.
He reminds me of, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I forget the stoner surfer guy's name in that one, but you know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
But he reminds me a little bit of that guy.
He's definitely the
I couldn't tell you the actor off the top of my head.
stoner of the film. If you go with that.
Yeah. Where'd I leave off in my notes here? But yeah, so the stoner and Linda, we get some more Craig's position here. So his dad died, so he started dealing and doing drugs, which probably worked out pretty well for the stoner. But the stoner kid, he says that Craig almost killed him if his brother hadn't hit him with a blender. And this is important. It was a Hamilton Beach blender.
I know, and Hamilton
Because it's quality. If you're gonna hit somebody with a
quality.
blender, you know a Hamilton bleach blender, bleach, yeah, a Hamilton Beach blender. It's gonna get the job done, and you'll still be able to make a nice Mai Tai afterwards. Do you use a blender to make Mai Tai? Or I just pulled a random drink out of my ass? That doesn't make sense.
You probably
Smoothie. How about smoothie?
A milkshake? Hamilton Beach are known for.
I don't know anything about alcoholic beverages. Do you think I drink?
Oh, I mean, a milkshake.
That's why I'm gonna survive any horror movie I'm in. I don't drink.
I think my grandma and my brothers, they have the Hamilton Beach blender. Man.
So then it's break time. So
Oh, break time.
break time. Good old break time. So they're all sitting around eating, and they're complaining about the cops still haven't shown up yet. And you find out that Bill was an ex-firefighter. And Perry, why don't you, since you haven't been chit-chatting too much lately, why don't you tell me the story or give me a breakdown, a brief synopsis of the story that Bill tells him.
All right. So he talking. Was he there? So he's talking about, I think, a friend that was a firefighter. Or
No, I think he was a firefighter. He
yeah,
said
he
was
was.
a firefighter.
Yeah,
He was there. He wasn't the guy
so if
doing
I have my
this.
notes. So he's a firefighter, and he's talking about a really bad car accident
Mm-hmm.
that happened, and he's talking about a coworker who, when they got to the accident, he noticed him eating a hamburger, and he's like, "Why is this guy eating a hamburger?" And then the guy, like, he goes off to investigate the wreck. I'm really horrible about this, by the way. Bill does it much better than I give it justice for. Anyways, anywho, one of the bodies is got decapitated during the
Mm-hmm.
wreck,
Yes.
and so Bill's there cleaning up the scene, and then he just sees his friend just walking down the street with a head in one hand and a hamburger in the other. The hamburger.
Yeah, because when they left, he was eating a hamburger, I think, and
Yeah.
they went out on
He
the
still
call.
has
He's
that.
still eating the
He still
hamburger.
has the hamburger, so he's
Yep.
got a decapitated head in one hand
And
and
the hamburger in
and
the other, swinging back and forth, and he's still eating that hamburger.
and they got this line from the movie Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage.
How did they?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'd have to go back and watch for what scene that was.
You're right.
Off the
I
top of my
gotcha.
head, but yeah.
Anyway, so hey, guess what? The cops finally showed up. Unlike our waitress, Jesus Christ, is she ever going to show up? I want my damn pancakes. Is this bit doing anything for anybody? I feel like this bit would work better if this was a YouTube review, where I could actually be sitting at like a dining table eating pancakes or something, but we're going to roll with it. We're going to pretend that we're still at this diner.
I like diners.
So, anyways, Craig, he's out on parole. But the cops pretty much tell him, hey, if he shows back up, give us a call. And the one older cop, he does this bit. He's like, here's my card. Wait, no, that's not my card. Here's my card. I'm like, what? Oh, the little
And
humor
then
in
he
this
ends it
movie.
to him upside down. He's got to turn it over.
Yes.
Right side up.
Yes. Anyway, so from all the commotion from earlier, Jen's got a nosebleed. So she heads to the bathroom.
I mean, this nosebleed is something. It is. I
That
don't
serious?
know how
I
this
didn't-
nosebleed can last so long.
It does last quite a long time. I didn't put much into my notes about it, just that she had a nosebleed. Outside, we get some ominous music and the good old killer POV shot of the killer walking. If it's the killer, bum bum bum.
Bum,
We don't know
bum.
yet. So, but we got Linda, and she's putting some groceries in her car because she's getting ready to leave and head over to Ketty.
Some groceries.
Teddy,
This
Ketty.
she
See,
has
I'm getting ahead of myself by with the K there,
some groceries.
but Teddy
She's taking advantage of this half price sale. She has a whole
and
case,
her employee discount, no less.
of Heineken with groceries
Jesus
on top of it.
Christ. Anyways, so we get to kill number 1. Man, I feel like we need some like once we get fancy with this, we need some like sound bites and shit.
Can't.
We're not
There
there
is 9 kill counts in this movie.
yet. Is there not?
9 kill counts. Now,
Maybe we'll get to there
but
because I did number them in my notes. So
so this is Linda, right? So
Yes,
wait,
Linda.
what's the back of the cover? This is one of the
yeah, this is
highest-
Renee Estevez
this is one of the
from Lethal Weapon. Who'd she play in
top
Lethal Weapon?
top billed actresses on this movie, right? And she dies first.
Right. Well, she's actually not top billed. So if you look, it's Elizabeth Cox, then Danny Hicks. She's actually 4th billed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but the box like tries to make her out as the main character, which they've mislabeled her as. So yeah. So
that's what I mean. So
who'd she play in Lethal Weapon? Was she one of Tom Atkins' daughter that goes off the thing at the beginning, because she's like high on drugs or something, and then she falls off the balcony. We don't talk about Lethal Weapon too much because Tom Atkins dies in it. So if we ever get around to talking about not horror movies, which we may someday, but for now it's going to be all horror. People don't get your hopes up if you want to hear us talk about other movies. But yeah, Lethal Weapon's dead to me. Should have never killed Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins should have been Murtaugh.
They have the Lethal Weapons TV show.
Now we're getting off on a tangent here, but fun fact that he was actually, I believe, he was one of the people considered to be Murtaugh. Anyways, back to the movie at hand. Kill number 1 here. She closes the trunk, and we got a shadowed killer with a knife who goes in for the stab and does a nice little. What's that?
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, okay. You're pointing at something. Do you need something?
Pass me the DVD.
Oh, you want the DVD box? Okay. Jeez, imagine if this was being video recorded too. You could see all this nonsense play out. But anyways,
So
it does a nice little cutaway from the
This is-
violence.
This is where it screws up. This is where I read something. Sorry. On the back of the box, it says Ace Checkout Girl Jennifer, played by Lethal Weapons Renee Estevez.
Mm.
Her name's not Jennifer. Her name is Linda.
Well, yes, but Jennifer is the main character, but Renee Estevez
They
plays
got the name
Linda.
wrong. They got
Yeah.
the name wrong.
Yeah, they mixed it up.
Did you say
They did
that?
the crisscross.
Did you say that? Did I miss
We
it?
swap murders. Crisscross.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man.
Did you not listen to anything I said?
I don't listen.
Jeez,
That's
no
part of
longer this
podcast.
This
I
no
can't.
longer this.
Do you like a guy that
No
doesn't pay
wonder this
attention
is gonna
to a
take forever
co-host?
to record.
I'm gone.
Oh my
I'm out of here.
goodness.
No.
All right, continuing on,
Just
people.
keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, so as the shadowed killer, I wonder who it could be, goes in for the stab, it cuts away to Ted Raimi, Joe, aka Joe, cutting watermelon. So it does the little nice, transition shot there where he goes chop on the watermelon to imply, her head got chopped.
I wonder what.
So
I wonder.
don't worry, there's going to be plenty of gore in this. So it's not one of those that's all going to skip out on the gore and cut away every single time.
And you guys want to guess what music he's listening to on his headphones?
What's that?
It's the same music you heard the last 2 times you saw.
Oh yeah, because every single time. After that,
Oh man! After that, you're missing the thing. He chops this long ass watermelon,
oh,
and
yeah,
then
in
he's
one
like,
blow.
he just gets this face. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do to you." He just says that, and he like just jams a knife right in the center of this watermelon and takes out a huge chunk and just starts eating it. It's just the best.
employee theft, people.
It's just the best.
Anyways, we go over to the office where Bill and the other owner, they're discussing sales and the sale of the store and whatnot. I feel like there's like almost a missing plot here because Bill's like, I don't know how we're losing money. And the other owner, I think Ray is his name. He's like, well, we are. I feel like there's almost like a missing subplot in there, like, because Ray just wants to sell the place anyways. Like, there was some shady bookkeeping going on to make it look red so that make them have to sell it type deal. One of those. Because it get bought by the city and turned into a park or something. I don't know what the hell it's getting turned into. It
Yeah,
wasn't important enough for me to write down.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
I
Bill
think
storms out and the picture framed of them two, all buddy just shatters and breaks, and Ray the Dick just throws it into the garbage because he doesn't care about their friendship and ownership of this store. Sad times at Ridgemont High. That's a little saying I say. I'm gonna try to use that all the time in
all
this.
right, okay, that's fine.
Not all the time today, but it's gonna
Forever.
be a recurring gag.
All right.
Anyway, so we cut to so Bill's throwing some boxes in the trash compactor, the box crusher. Foreshadowing.
No, this
And he goes to investigate a mysterious sound, and then he just gets scared by some falling equipment. Some like vacuum or something falls over. So he walks down the back door hallway, and the back door slowly begins to open, and the camera tilts as the knob turns, and the knob almost sounds like a combination, like
Yeah.
clicking on a safe. Like, what the fuck type of doorknob fucking do they have on this back door that's like almost like a safe combination or something?
Yeah.
But Bill goes outside with his trusty hammer, and he catches Craig trying to sneak in through the bathroom window because he's spying on Jen there with her nosebleed.
Never ending.
But the dumpster cover falls, revealing him to Bill, and they have a fight. But Bill, he gets knocked out with the hammer, and we cut back to good old Ten Raimi, still just jamming and working. Oh, and someone's watching Jen, and I think it's still Craig. I'm not 100% sure. I just wrote someone watching. It could be one of those mysterious POV shots again. Oh, and somebody's drinking on the job. I don't know who is, but
Yeah, there's.
it's not important.
And it's just labeled beer.
Yes, all the beer is generic. Like we get brand name Pepsi and other stuff, but the beer is just beer. So back in the owner's office, Ray, he's crunching away on his adding machine there, and so he gets strangled, I believe, by the phone cord. He's getting strangled here. And he tries to use the PA system to help, but it just, gets one of those loud audio noises, like, that screech you hear sometimes on microphones and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But he tries to call for help, but the wire eventually gets torn out. And we cut to a phone call of Teddy. He's checking on Linda. I think Jen answers because he's like, hey, Linda hasn't shown up yet, and she should have been here by now. And then we cut back to the kill number 2. With an asterisk, because we'll cover that later on. The not Bill owner, the non-Bill owner, he gets his eye punched through the paper holder, which also gets alluded to because he's like slamming in the receipts and whatnot on
earlier
on
when they were talking.
the paper. It's one of those paper holders that's just the spike, and you stab the papers onto it. But so instead, he gets his eye stabbed into
This
it.
is for a really good kill for a slasher.
Oh yeah, and like the blood just starts pouring out on the adding machine, and the adding machine just starts going crazy, printing out the receipt paper and whatnot, and it's just all bloody.
Yeah.
And
Good.
oh, I gotta put this joke in here. So it looks like the finances really were in the red. Badoom ching.
Oh man.
Anyways, and yeah, you get this awesome scene of the blood dripping on the lamp on the floor. It's really well done.
Cinematography is great.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
And then they show the ceiling because they cut the room kind of like dark, and they show the ceiling where you see the spotlight of the lamp, and then you see the blood going, and it's red over top. It's really nice cinematography.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. There's more to come in this. So anyway, so we get another POV looking out the office window, plotting his next victim. And so Dave jump scares Jen, and we get a kiss. Aww. And they start kind of making out on the with a checkout line, the roller there, and the roller starts going because they hit the switch, and it's kind of funny.
She's like, "Well, we shouldn't do this, but I think in her mind,
It's like we're gonna get in trouble.
We're gonna get in trouble. Well, wait, we're almost done with work.
Boning is always more important than everything.
No, it's fine. But I'm just saying,
If Halloween 3 taught us anything, boning is more important than saving the world.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey Perry, how many days to Halloween? Yeah, we don't know. We would do the jingle, but yeah. I don't know off the top of my head. And between when we're recording this and when we'll actually air it. Who knows? So one of the other dark-haired guys that works there, I forget his name. Maybe his name is Tim. I don't remember. But he's watching from behind the cooler, because the coolers are double-sided. You just kind of stalk from the one side.
Yeah.
If you've ever looked behind the stock, I don't know how it is nowadays, but that's how it was back in the day. I think it's still that way. You can like still stock it.
Like if you go to a gas station now and they have like the beer case.
Yeah, I mean,
you can see them, refilling the beer section that people.
So he comes out from behind to get a better look, and then the killer takes his place, watching him watch them. And I really like that shot. I thought it was neat. I mean, it's typical slasher movie cliche stuff. Again, the killer the killer pops into a position where the character just was. But I really I like, I don't know, for some reason that shot just stood out for me. I enjoyed it. Then we get back to the stoner. He's doing a pretty shitty job of stalking. Sam Raimi, he's eating some olives out of a jar, but there's an eyeball in the olive jar. Don't worry, he doesn't eat it, but it's right next to the olive he does grab, though.
Now this right here, I just want to ask you:
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is a human eye or a pig eye?
I'm pretty sure. I think it's supposed to be the other owner's eye, because, well, I mean, if you listen to the beginning disclaimer, there's going to be spoilers. So, but yeah, so when the other owner shows back up, like his eyes all closed and whatnot, and he's trying to ask for help, but I think it's his eye, or it's at least supposed to be his eye. Who knows?
I'm just saying why I'm thinking that.
Maybe there's another kill that we didn't know, and I almost said who the killer was too early, but maybe he went and killed Mr. Everett and took his eye. You want to go with that story?
I don't know. I just thought maybe it's because they like to play practical jokes on each other, because they always seem to have this sense like, like, is that you? Like practical joke that somebody could.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. So I feel like a lot of, especially in horror movies anymore, they try too much to develop the characters. And like, sure, some of them, this one-dimensional ones that are going to get killed off. But I mean, I feel like sometimes less is better in the character development department,
especially in the slasher movie.
Because in this one, it could just be like me and you. Hey, these are like people I would work with, and how we conversate with each other. You don't need more backstory on them. You get it. They're just, they're typical people working in a grocery store, and they know each other. They have a good time. They gripe about work together. So I get that kind of vibe from them, which, like I said, some movies today, it's like, I don't need this person's entire backstory. Just, I can relate to people who are just normal people. I don't need like, oh, this guy's whatever happened to him so and so many years ago, and that's why he's like this. I'm like, can't they just be normal people? Anyways, I digress. So anyway, Sam goes into the cooler. Oh, I think one of the Raimi brothers is no longer long for this world coming up in these notes here. So he comes out, and this is a cool little shot because you get like an audio cue of metal clanging, and when he comes back out of the cooler and closes the door, you notice that one of the knives on the knife rack is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was pretty cool. We go back to Ted chopping stuff, and you're not going to be able to see me do this motion, but he's kind of going whoosh, keeps back and forth with this knife.
He's really going at.
He's going ham with this knife. Like he's lifting the knife all the way back behind him and then coming down and chop, chop, chop. And then all of a sudden, and this is very well shot too. So every time he takes the knife back, it just cuts to him with the knife in his hand. And then it'll cut forward to him chopping produce. Well, on the very last time, it cuts to the hand coming back. The knife comes forward, but it ain't coming forward on the produce. Because we got kill number 3. Knife to the dome from behind to good old Ted Raimi.
And then what's funny in this scene, on his headset, it is playing different music this time. The first time we have different music.
Really?
For Mr. Ted Raimi.
Glad to know that. So he falls down and reveals the knife safety sign, which is kind of a nice little gag there. I think let's pause for a moment to get a shameless plug from some sort of pre-recorded sponsor. Probably for Anchor, because, that's probably all we got right now. And we're back from that horribly recorded plug. But I'm glad you listened to it. It helps us to hopefully upgrade from this shitty recording setup we got going on. God.
Check it out, guys.
Oh, God. If only you knew the trouble we had to go through to just get this jury-rigged daisy chain of a fuck mess going for this. But anyway, so yeah, we came back and Ted Raimi just died. So we cut over to good old Dave. He's cut some. He's just hilarious because if you've ever used a box cutter to cut open anything, then maybe you should pay attention to the boxes that say "Do not cut to open," because he cuts open this box with the box cutter. And he picks up these two bags. I'm not even sure. It's just like this blue powder shit.
I think it's some
like
kind of laundry.
Yeah, I think it's detergent. And he's just like, oh, I hate when that happens. Like, dude, if it keeps happening to you, stop fucking cutting the box open with a fucking box cutter. Or do it better.
Are these
I work
guys?
with these fucking things all the time. I don't fucking cut shit open.
I know I'm kind of a little soon. But are these guys being punished for their sloppy workmanship? Like,
There's a little
Ted,
bit of that.
Like, safety with the knife. He's swinging like a madman.
I didn't think of it though, but maybe that's another thing. Because after he just snaps, because you think about it, the first girl, Linda, she was taking home all the groceries, which I think she did get checked out for those because I think Jen was checking
Yeah,
her out.
Jen. Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
it was like an obsessive amount, and who knows, But yeah, I think you might have a theme going on there. And we all know the stoner. We know that guy because he was somebody. Sam Raimi was eating on the job, so yeah, like you might have hit the nail on the head there with that.
yeah.
Good observation there. See, you're worthwhile to have around, apparently.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Don't get penisy, kid.
Sorry.
Anyways, yeah, Dave cuts open the boxes. There's this box gag where he keeps putting the boxes on the shelf, and they keep falling down.
The laundry detergent. It's just like what generic. It's generic. It just says
It's just
laundry
like
detergent.
generic.
It looks like
stuff.
a box of cornflakes, but it says laundry.
But it's not just that the boxes are misshaped or anything. It's actually the stoner. He's being a dick. He's pushing the boxes down because he wants to borrow his box cutter. But so we cut to the killer. He's dragging Ted's body, and the music. I love this because it's, like I said, it reminds me of Evil Dead when the music slows down and whatnot. The music is playing, but it sounds like all slowed down and choppy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And not 100% right, which is a very nice touch. I like that there. After that, we're back to Sam Raimi, and he's looking for the bosses. You got anything to add there, Mr. No Notes?
He's looking for the bosses.
Yeah, the bosses.
I know. I remember something. Oh, like a ladder falls.
Yeah,
and he gets scared.
But you get the killer shadows creeping in.
Yeah, so the killer just literally pushes this mini step ladder over, and I don't know how you don't see him.
Well, I don't think killer pushed it over. I think Sam Raimi bumped into it and fell over. Because then Sam Raimi's like, "Who put this here?" He's like, "Oh, I did."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I don't know. It was just
I've done that numerous times.
think
I'm like,
different
who the hell
things.
did this? I'm like, oh yeah, it was me.
You could think of different things in that show, but it was funny. It was funny.
So we cut back to the other dark-haired guy who was stocking the beer earlier, and he's tagging all the Pepsi. Pepsi. I think he's actually tagging regular Pepsi in this. Which, what do I have here? I got a Pepsi in my hand. Come on, Pepsi, give us some sponsorship.
I got this lovely Dunkin' Donuts.
You can pay me in Pepsi.
And Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. I can't say that we run on Dunkin'. I mean, I run on Dunkin'.
You hear that, sponsors? We'll take any and all sponsors we can get. Anyways, the door opens on him in the cooler, and then the door closes, but the killer's already in there. So we get kill number 4, stabs him with knife. So he stabs him with his knife, and it pierces through his stomach, and it hits the beer cans. And of course, the beer cans just, beer just starts spraying everywhere. What brand beer?
Just beer.
Just beer.
It's on the
beer.
It's on the back cover
beer.
of the DVD
beer
box.
Yes, it is.
Beer.
It's also on the disc too, because I think the disc is just the front setup without the guy on it. If you open up the box and look at the disc,
so it's the same one. Yeah, I guess.
So that's kill number 4. So dark hair guy, like I said, I think his name was Tim because I got that coming up in my notes. So, and we cut over to Sam. Back to Sam Raimi. He's cutting chickens on this table saw. I wonder if someone's gonna get killed by that table saw.
No, of course not. Why would they? Huh?
So then we cut to the stoner with the box crusher, and someone's creeping up on the other side. So he thinks it's Tim, which, like I said, putting 2 and 2 together, I've deduced that Tim must be that dark-haired guy. So like I said, he's not a big part of this story. He's kind of like in the scuffles, and that's about it. And he's stocking the beer cooler and the sodas and whatnot. And as he's wandering around, though, he finds Tim on the other side of the cooler shelf. And Tim's just sitting there because he's dead because, he's got a knife in him. But he can't see that because, peeking through the cooler there, he just sees him and just sees him not moving. He's just like trying to chat with him. And he's like, Tim's not having any of it because he's dead. Then we get the killer grabs him and pulls him through the cooler shelf. And so then we get kill number 5. So good old stoner guy, he gets garbage compacted and he gets his head crushed in all of its gooey goriness.
Well, this scene was kind of funny because he was crushing stuff, and he thinks somebody's fooling around with him,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. This killer is like the fastest thing ever, or he can't see him with the shots because
He's like Sonic.
He's like right on the other side of it. The crusher, it's not the biggest thing ever, and he's just.
Hey man, just to get
the guy's like
on the other side of the cooler.
He keeps running around at the killer, not just like the back of it.
Well, he must really know the layout of the store really well.
He could be crazy. I don't know about the store, but it was great. But the head crushing scene was great.
Oh yeah, and this just goes to show the level of special effects craftsmanship from Nicotero and Kurtzman Berger here. Real top notch stuff, and you can see why they went far in the industry that they did. So, and the kills are ramping up now. So we cut back to the to Sam with the chicken, and we also got another full moon shot. So Sam's inventorying the meats, and he grabs one pack, and you see it on the shelf beforehand. It's a shrink wrapped hands, and he grabs it, and then he's like, "What the heck is this?" And then kill number 6, meat hooked. He gets lifted up and skewered onto the meat hook. And so that's really like 3 quick kills in quick succession there.
I want to stop you right there.
Sure.
This, to me, is the most ridiculous kill of the movie. So the killer literally lifts Randy, Sam Raimi's character. It's like 5 feet off the ground with one hand and just like guts the bottom of his chin.
Hey, when you go insane, when you're crazy
like
about this store, you get superhuman strength.
The steroids are like...
Well, I mean, there's probably steroids there. He went to the dietary supplement aisle and just pounded those, unregulated 80s vitamins.
It was a great kill, but
I just thought it was probably more akin to like
the kill in the
zombie
movie.
Jason Voorhees as opposed to, or Michael Myers, as opposed to, random Joe guy that's working at a supermarket.
So, but just for this movie, this kill seemed the most unlikely to happen. But
yeah, I get it.
I have a little trivia on this.
Oh boy.
So originally he was supposed to die by being gutted by a meat hook, but Ted Raimi, he told the director that it would be better if his brother was instead hung into a meat hook. So he suggested to the director.
Yeah. I agree with Ted there. He knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah. So and then the blood starts dripping out from the cooler floor, and then there were 2 in quotes because obviously we're still under the presumption here that Craig's the killer. Which, come on, it's never the most obvious person. Except for that time when it is. But, 95% of the time, it's not the most obvious suspect. So we're down to Dave and Jennifer at this point, because Bill, we still assume, is knocked out from the hammer, from when it was hammer time. And then we see a severed hand get dropped in the lobster tank and starts turning the water red.
I don't know why that's in the movie, but why not?
But so we go back to Dave. It's in the movie because it can be.
Okay. All right.
So we go back to Dave, and he asks for a box cutter. Or he asked for his box cutter back from the stoner guy.
It gets tossed over.
Yes, he gets tossed over, but he cuts his hand because the stoner guy didn't put the box cutter blade back in. No box cutter safety. It just reminds me of these dumb fucking stupid safety-proof box cutters we have where you have to push the lever and then the blade. They're fucking pain in the ass. I'd rather have the ones where if I fucking forget to put the blade back in, oh well.
One of the joys of box cutters and
I'm not stupid, people. I know how to use a fucking knife or blade.
Apparently these employees did not, know how to
apparently, yeah. Of course, we already know the stoner's dead, so it couldn't have been him tossing back over, so that was the intent. So Dave finds the meat slicer running. Will that come into play later? Unfortunately, it doesn't, but it's another one of those setups where it's like, something could happen.
Yeah.
So anyways, he's bandaging up his hands in the bathroom, and he sees shoes in the bathroom stall. and he opens it up, and there's a pair of severed feet there, which is another really cool looking effect.
And he thought it was a joke. He thought they were pig's feet.
Thinks it's pig's feet, right? So he finds blood coming from the cooler, and some dust comes down from the attic. So he goes to investigate, and Halloween mask falls down, which serves as another jump scare here, I think. And he looks in the attic, and so this must be where they keep their overstock stuff for out of season stuff or decorations, because there's a bunch of Halloween masks up there. There's some Christmas decorations, and one strategically placed case of Huggies diapers for when he shits himself in a second. He gets jump scared by Danny. Danny's the name of the other owner, apparently, because I got it right there. What was I calling him earlier? Ray?
Yeah,
Who the fuck was Ray?
I don't know.
Maybe I just heard it wrong. Maybe Ray was the stoner guy. I don't know. I might have just pulled Ray out of my ass, and maybe I was tired when I.
We all have a
part of the
Ray
movie.
in our ass.
Yeah, he falls from down. He's jump scared because there's like a second ladder in the basement. I don't know if it goes down another side or if it goes further up into like another attic or something. Did I say I meant attic.
Yeah.
I said basement, but I meant attic. So I don't know if there's a second attic or if it's just another stairway down somewhere. But Danny kind of flops down and scares the shit out of him. And he's asking for help, but Dave's going to bleed out or something here in a second, so he's not very important.
Can I stop you right there?
Sure. Is that your catchphrase? Stop me right there?
Yeah. Am I to presume that Danny crawled from the office to this, or was he?
It's that far away from the office.
By the.
He could have been placed.
I mean, this guy's eye is gone. He got.
Yeah, it was in the olive jar. Maybe.
He had the eye. He still had one eye.
Right.
So it's not there.
But yeah,
he's once again.
Yeah, he's only got one good eye left.
But did he crawl there? I mean, there'd be blood trails, or did this killer, who seems to have some prolific strength, move him there?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
All right. I just wonder what your thoughts were.
Yeah, it's like this. He needed to be there for a jump scare, so the movie teleported him there.
All right.
It was Scotty. Scotty beamed him there.
All is fair in love and gore.
The Starship Enterprise showed up and said, "We need this guy to be here to make this movie better, so let's beam him over there," because they had nothing better to do that day on Star Trek. Anyways. I forgot where it was in my notes. Good job, Harry. All right. Okay. So, jump scared by Danny. He's still alive, briefly, for now. So we get, Dave sees Craig sneaking up on Jen from the attic window. And so here's where there's another, one of those black domed windows that's, like, tinted out so you can only see one way. Because it must be very soundproof, too, because he's, like, banging on it, trying to get her attention, because, Craig must be the killer or something, so he's trying to save her. But, Danny helps. I put help scares. He doesn't jump scare him. He help scares him back down the ladder because he ends up falling down the ladder. And then the killer comes in like all fucking Liu Kang style, fucking jump kicking off the meat hook. He swings it on the meat hook and just fucking double kicks him. We get kill number 7. So killer's got this meat cleaver and he hits like the side of his head. It's just a superficial wound. He tries to grab the same meat cleaver because I think the killer drops it to use against him, but the killer takes him over and drags him to the table saw.
A bandsaw.
A bandsaw?
I looked it up, yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard the term. I usually associate bandsaws with like more construction.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't think of a bandsaw like thing can't be fucking safe. They would never fucking put that in any place today, even if they were cutting chickens in half.
OSHA would have a problem.
Well, I mean, obviously people use them in construction, but I mean, like something like that, it seems a bit excessive, especially for that type of work.
This is the 80s, man.
I mean, they have meat cleavers, just fucking meat cleaver that chicken in half. Anyway, so yeah, he takes him to the bandsaw, and the whole time Dave's just like screaming like a whiny little bitch. So I think the killer was doing Jen a favor here, because if he went out like that much of a whiny little bitch, like, he's doing her a solid.
This is a great kill.
This is another good one.
This is probably one of my favorite kills.
Yeah, it's just great and that's how you love some of these old school, especially in the 80s, like the practical effects were really coming into their own, and just like slides his head through the bandsaw, going a long way, so it comes like across like right by like almost under the right above his mouth, below his nose. I think maybe a little higher. It might have been like above the nose or in the nose or something. And just the effect, because it still looks like he's screaming as he's going through this thing. So I mean, whatever model they did and like maybe doing some puppeteering work on it or something to make it look like he's still screaming, because obviously they weren't running his head through the bandsaw like at, you know what I mean, like there wasn't
fake, but yeah.
right, there wasn't a prosthetic attached to his head while it's going through this bandsaw or something so he could still be screaming. It just, you shows it in all of its glory, just going clean through his head. It cuts a little bit because, you know, back and forth.
Now, this scene, when it was first released for home media on VHS and like maybe the first DVD, this scene was excluded from those movies. 5 minutes of the movie was cut out.
Right, for censorship, right?
Uh,
And all that
yeah,
stuff.
because
Because of the rating.
it contained the R rating, even though those movies are. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Oh, that was the grading system back then. You know, it was very.
It's.
Look at what you can get away with now in an R movie.
I think it's when they made the director's cut.
Yeah, because I
DVD.
believe that
And
I
that's
believe
like
the DVD.
2005. So,
Right, I believe
like,
that.
if you saw this movie before, and then you get
Right, yeah. If you
don't get
didn't
to
see it in the early
everything.
days, if you didn't see it when it came out or in the early days before it got chopped up, I'm pretty sure that's the collector's edition. Yeah, it says 30th anniversary
Yeah,
or
I'm just trying
whatever.
to see the time here because I think it was 88 is the correct runtime.
I think.
Yeah, this is
Yep.
this is 88.
Yep.
And
So.
so they had the
Yep. I didn't get gypped out of my
You
bandsaw
get,
kill.
yeah, you got your
And
5 minutes of gore footage.
And we cut back to the Sting magazine because we got to keep showing that Sting magazine.
But this could be, it could be the singer Sting with makeup for maybe a music video. Or
Like, I
something.
don't know.
He was very charitable, like
I don't know.
Bono, whatever they got. Bono.
We'll start another podcast just all about the Sting magazine and Intruder.
It looks. I think it has like feathers. It looks like a Native American kind of thing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
All right. Anyways, keep going, man.
But yeah, so we cut back to the Sting magazine, and then there was just Jen, and she's looking for the others. So, and then we go back to the falling box gag with the detergent that won't stay on the shelf again. Except I don't know who's knocking it down now, except the killer. Bum, bum, bum. She passes the lobster hand tank with the hand still in there, which is cool. Goes in the cooler area and she steps on an eyeball. Doesn't know it, just kind of like, And then the meat hook starts shaking, so see him start rattling. And then the meat comes sliding in on another hook. And it's just, just like a half a beef or pork or whatever, just on this meat hook, or maybe a whole. Might not have been cut up yet, but just comes in and you think it's going to be like something spooky, but that's just a setup because then she turns around and she sees good old Sam Raimi hanging from a meat hook. We got the meat hook jump scare. So she turns, she sees a shadow killer. So she runs to hide in meat cooler and grabs a meat hook for a weapon. One of those like ones with the little handheld bar and then it's got the hook on it.
Little wooden ends, yeah.
Yep.
They use those to.
And
use those to slide.
Yes. Yep. To hook onto things. Yep. Yep. You're 100% right. I think they use them in Night of the Living Dead a little bit too, like towards the end when they're hooking all the bodies. So if you've seen that scene, you know what we're talking about. But there's a half torso, which looks awesome, just sitting behind her that she doesn't see. She notices that the beef beside her begins to move, so she runs and leaves the cooler. She closes the cooler, and the killer's hand is in the door, so she meat hooks it, which, ouch. And she uses poor Sam Raimi on this meat hook to like kind of block the door and put some weight against it. Yeah. So
barricade.
Yeah. So she tries to get Danny and Bill at the office, but she sees blood coming from the door. So she goes and slips down the box chute, and she sees poor Tim at the bottom and two separate garbage cans. And I believe does it say half off on the garbage cans? Yes.
Right.
I couldn't remember if that was in my notes, if that's a joke I made, or if it's just like, yeah, half off and he's split in half in two different garbage cans. Great. Then she sees that the trash was compacted. And then we got Ted coming down the conveyor, the actual conveyor belt one, with that music still playing. And it's still all slowed and garbled, and I love that touch. It's the little things that please me with these movies. So, and his head falls off as he's coming, because the conveyor starts to go back up, and then his head falls off. So she runs to that back door with the weird combination door handle or whatever, and it's locked though. So she finds Dave's head in the beer cooler. Which one? Oh, Dave's the one that got his head cut in half. And then the lights go out in the place. But then she's noticed that there's some car headlights. So she runs to catch the random late night shopper for help, but she's too late. And I don't know if you have this over in your handy dandy phone / notes over there, but was this where the director makes a cameo? He was the guy that came to the.
He's a delivery man. Yeah.
Oh, he's the delivery man. We haven't gotten that far yet. Okay. But the shopper goes back because he's like, tells his girl in the car. She's like, must be closed. So she can't get salvation there because she tries to run to catch him, but she's too late. But then she sees Craig's reflection in the doors. She turns and attacks him and knocks him out cold. And then she sobs. Poor baby. But then she hears a noise.
She hooks him right in like the shoulder, right? She still has a hook, right?
I'm not sure if she still has the hook. I just put that she attacks him and knocks him out cold. Because he's like briefly knocked. Well, when I say out cold, I mean he's going to be back up in a second.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, it's. I mean, if Wikipedia is right, it says she beats him with the meat hook.
It could be.
You know, I thought she had the meat hook. That's why.
I mean, we'll just edit Wikipedia right now, make up whatever we want. And that's not quite how it works, but back in the day it did. So she hears this noise, and lo and behold, it's Bill, who turns out wasn't just knocked out by the hammer the whole time. But he says it was Craig who did it, and then he goes to call the police. But there was blood on his hands because, he gives her like a hug, and then she noticed that there's like blood on her now, and that there's blood over his hands. And we get the big reveal that Bill is the killer. Bum, bum, bum.
You know what? He had holes in both hands, which was kind of weird because she stabbed one of the hands with the meat hook. And he had holes. I think he had holes in both hands.
Did he? I thought he just had blood on both hands. I didn't even
he wasn't
think
trying
about
to hide it, so it was the hand that was holding the phone.
Right.
And then he switches it, and that's when she notices the hole, and then she's on.
We begin the climax of the movie where we get the chase scene, of course. So she gets cornered at the checkout. And he's giving his big old spiel here. He's like, can't you see? I killed them for the store. He's got like kind of we haven't talked about this, but he's kind of got this southern drawl a little bit.
Oh my God, this guy.
Right? He's got this like southern drawl.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say like hillbilly-ish to a point, but he's definitely southern. See, I did it for the store. I couldn't let Danny sell the store. I guess I just got a little carried away. And then we get, of course, the tagline. I'm just crazy about this store. So, and then she clobbers him over the head with a bottle and makes her escape. So she tries to hide behind the shelving. And we get a cool looking shot of Bill through a bottle, like being shot through one of the glass bottles when it's all distorted and whatnot. So, but the broken bottle, the liquid from the broken bottle mixes with the blood on her. Or maybe her blood, I don't know, she got hit at one point or something. So, and it starts to wash out from under the display she's hiding behind, and it gives away her position. So,
see, this is where I think I don't know what kind of nosebleed. It was a lot of blood coming from her nose.
It could have been the blood on her hands from him when when she touched him.
But this is, I don't know. This is,
or she could have got cut because I believe when she hit the bottle, that's where the liquid comes from. The liquid over from the broken bottle. Maybe she cut her on the glass. Yeah. Could be, I mean,
if they,
that's nitpicking it here. And I mean, sure, we're always going to nitpick films, but I let things in good films slide. Whereas if I really am not enjoying a film, I will use every nitpick against it to add another criticism to it. But here, I can let that one go.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and I'm like, oh, I'm walking away from this.
Right? It's like, this is trash, continuity error, straight in the garbage can. No. He starts hacking at this display, and the chase begins anew, and they run past the lobster hand tank again. They're really proud of that hand in the lobster tank.
I mean, that's their shining glory.
So in the back of the store, Jen ends up arming herself again. So we got Dave Crouch walking down the aisle like he's doing. I'm like, is he doing like a hold in a dump walk? Does he have to take another fasty? And he stops to pick up some fallen over product off the floor and put it back on the shelves. Like that really matters at this point when you have displays all screwed up. But that's just how crazy about this store I am. See, so he crashes through the frosted flakes to grab her from behind through the shelving, and she hits with another bottle and runs to the front door, but it's locked. But here comes the produce guy, just in the nick of time. And, of course, this is the director, Scott Spiegel. And
it's the bread man.
Is it the bread man? I put produce man. I didn't know,
Did you miss a part?
Did I miss a part? What'd I miss?
What he had his hand in, like a puppet?
No, that's coming up.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's
geez.
right after this, actually.
I didn't realize it goes back to the back
Yeah,
of the
so
story. Then. All right.
and then but he gets died. He gets like fucking hit in the back with a meat cleaver or a knife or something by Bill, and Bill's just like smiling out there. But how the fuck did that guy? You want to complain about something? How the hell did he get from the
There's
inside of the store?
teleportation in this movie.
Fucking Scotty from the Enterprise again just was
There's
like, this guy needs to be outside to kill this guy, and damn it, we're gonna make this movie happen and make it good.
Bill has special powers.
Yes. Well, he's crazy about that store.
He lifted a man like 5 or 6 feet.
He knows the store like the back of his now gaping wounded hands.
Yeah.
so he probably has like a secret tunnel out of there to like.
I know he probably does know all the.
But so we cut back to Danny. He's dead for real this time, and so we missed it earlier, but back when Dave and her were flirting for the first time, Bill came in and did an impersonation of Danny's voice, and that comes into play here because she does an impersonation, but he's playing puppet with the head.
When I saw this, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah, it's just great.
I'm like,
it's a good looking head.
And then I'm
too.
like, this is gold.
Oh yeah, it's a great looking effect too. It's like not like some of the cheap looking decapitated heads you see and stuff. This head looks amazing.
And then this is where I get if Bill moved him in the attic, or because he's like carrying his body. That's where my question.
But so yeah, and so Bill ends up. She tries to knife him, and he just fucking straight up grabs this knife like a fucking boss.
He squeezes his hand out.
Yes, it's just like holding the knife. So now his fucking other hand's bleeding if it's the other hand.
Wait, crazy.
So anyways, so we get the story from earlier. So this is where that story where he's a firefighter comes back in. And he's repeating the story from earlier, just like before and he's got Danny's head in one hand swinging while he's still eating his sandwich in the other. So we got the good old callback. See, that story wasn't just for nothing. It was to set up a gag later on.
It was great.
So she's trying to run away from him. So she gets grabbed by Craig, who's still in this movie and alive and not just dead. And he tries to tell her, which, of course we know by now. He was set up because obviously this guy's off his fucking rocker. And that's why he was left alive and why he didn't kill him outside, because he needed to be the fall guy. So after he killed everybody. Bill jumps him, though, and beats Danny's fucking severed head. This movie is off the rails at this point, and I love it. This is what I love to see in this type of film.
This is great.
So Jen makes a run for the bathroom window to escape, and she gets outside. So she unlocks the Jeep, but out falls Linda. Jen gets dragged under the Jeep, but she grabs the knife out of Linda because the knife's still in there and hides it out of view under the car while Bill's dragging her underneath. Just before Bill gets ready to strike with his knife or meat cleaver or whatever he has, she stabs him in the chest. And just the look on his face, he's just like, "Where'd you get that knife?"
That was one of the best lines of the movie.
I fucking loved it. And it's great because it was like, did you not know you left the fucking knife in Linda when you put her in that fucking Jeep? You know where she had to get the knife from.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, it's also great because he falls down and the fucking knife just shoots straight up in the air like fucking cartoon style and lands on a fucking box.
Yeah.
Just straight comedy gold. So Jen goes into the phone booth and calls the police, but Bill crashes through. Come on, it's a slasher movie. Did you really think the slasher was dead yet? No, of course not.
It was funny. She put a quarter in the machine to dial 911. Mm-hmm. You didn't need to do that on Facebook. You just had to dial 911.
Sure, maybe back in the 80s you had to, because the 80s, the decade of greed, man. Hey, they had. You remember the pay toilets? You had to put the fucking. Of course, you could just crawl underneath the fucking stall door if you really had to go, but that was a thing back in the day. You had to put the coins in the door. I remember seeing those at I believe it was Conneaut Lake Park back.
That's
maybe
some
Jog
of that change.
Lake, one of them.
That's some of the change she wanted to use some of that change. She never gave Craig back.
It was. That's right. It all came full circle. But yeah, Bill crashes through, so he rocks the booth over. We get Craig to the rescue with the cleaver, just in the nick of time to stop Jen from getting finished off by Bill through the, because he was trying to get into the booth now that it was tipped over. And then we have the police siren, so the cops finally arrive. And lo and behold, we're like now, so 88-minute runtime, right? So we're probably 80 fucking 4 minutes into this movie, and you're like, gee, the first name on the front of this box is Bruce Campbell, and he is not in this movie yet. Kind of like How I still haven't gotten the goddamn fucking short stack of pancakes I ordered. I'm not leaving a fucking tip for Deloris, I can tell you that much.
Deloris.
Deloris. Anyways, finally, Bruce Campbell shows up to save the day, like he always does, because he's one of the police officers. Except he's not saving the day because the cops cuff him because they think they just see the bloody mess and they're just like, ah, you bunch of fucking crazies. And then Bill, with his last dying breath, says that they killed everyone. So does Bill get the last laugh here? So the other cop, he went into the story. He comes out. It's like, oh man, it's a bloodbath in there. And we get a stinger because Bill's eyes open back up afterwards. And then Jen screams as they roll the credits as they're arresting her, as she's being read her rights. And at first I thought this wasn't going to hold up in court because they didn't read her rights. But no, they were reading her rights at that last scene. So I'm like, oh, darn, you're not getting off on that technicality.
And then you have the nice cinematography where it goes into down her screaming mouth.
Yes.
And they were debating, I was reading about it, going down through her throat down into her heart, but they decided to just stop it.
Yeah, it probably would have been a lot more special effects to be done for that.
Probably would have,
and not really needed. What
did
it lend? What would have it lent to the movie there?
Now,
good. I don't know about you, but none of that shit would never hold up in fucking court. Like, because they would know that she was the one who called 911 because they'd have the 911 recording, however brief it was. And I'm not sure how sophisticated DNA evidence was back then.
I don't think it was that great in the late 80s.
But they still would have had some forensic evidence, and they probably would have got off. So I'm going to go with it's a happy ending. Like, they didn't get screwed here.
But at the time it came out, you might not.
Yeah, I understand it's kind of a throw for a loop.
A lot of people, they don't like movies that end on that kind of,
like
what happens to them. But there's certain movies that
I think it's just
correctly.
I think it goes along with how campy this movie is.
And
it's just the fun of the movie. It's like, oh, you expect the happily ever after. Oh no, the cops show up and arrest them because they think they did it.
I think it goes.
Like I said,
it could go either way. But
there's no way they're getting charged.
I was satisfied with the ending.
So I'm assuming it's a happy ending for these two.
Yeah.
Afterwards, once they get off and they talk to their lawyer and whatnot.
I mean, we've seen stuff, but I've watched a lot of true crime. I mean, I could sit here and argue, but that's a whole different thing.
Right.
So
I think they'll get off just because I'm pretty sure when they start matching up DNA and whatnot and stuff, forensics, they could pin it all like, oh yeah, Bill was the one going around killing these people. So yeah, happy ending, except for Craig. Probably isn't still a nice guy and has some stability issues.
Remember, he had
and I don't see their newfound rekindled relationship lasting very long, if there is one.
I mean, and this is another thing, though. Craig has a history of arrest,
Yes, I know that's why.
So
but
I could argue the lean that they.
No, I mean, Jen can probably plead deal and be like, he did it all.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll skip the legalese here.
Yeah. We'll leave that to some other podcasts that talk about legal stuff. So anyways, what did you think?
I thought this was a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
I picked this movie just saw a cover and I just love, and it's a slasher movie. And this met all my expectations for a slasher movie.
Oh, 100%.
The kills are great. I even though I talked about
you could probably figure like
exaggerations of stuff.
So if you ignore the box, you could probably figure out who the killer is. It's not that hard. I mean, they do try to sell you on Craig, especially with Bill getting knocked out and then you don't see him for a while, but it's got a good story there. It's not overly complex. It has a nice score. It's not like over the top type of score, like super great compared to other horror movies, but the score serves its purpose and it's simple, but it's good. There's not a moment where the score feels out of place at all. They use stingers in the right times, eerie music at the right moments.
Music was, the conductor was really good.
It's got great effects from some legends and titans of the industry back in their early days.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I think they worked on Dawn of the Dead as well. So, I mean, this movie was 12 years after that, I think. So, I mean, I wouldn't say early days, but I mean, it's like this. Like, everybody knows Greg Nicotero and Kurtzman now from The Walking Dead, when they were making great film effects and doing great work in cinema well before that.
The cinematography was great in this
Right.
movie. Even I really enjoyed the shots.
Oh yeah,
of
it's got kooky
weirdly placed
cinematography,
cameras.
and it just showed that they were trying and they were having fun with it.
And then usually, sometimes for me in movies, humor is a killer. Like it just ruins the
Yeah,
movies.
I
This
mean,
movie had a perfect balance of
right.
humor.
In horror movies, like I feel like there's always going to be some humor because a lot of horror films, like I don't find this to be a scary film. This,
No, I mean, if I
like,
watched it when I was
a
younger,
lot of
probably.
yeah, if you watch it when you're young, you might get scared. But I mean, I don't watch horror to really be scared most of the time. I watch it for the entertainment. So there's always kind of this dark comedy in horror where you almost want to watch these morons die one by one. But I understand what you're saying with the humor. It's, when they insert normal humor, it works. It's a nice little break from the normal dark humor that you get from a horror film.
Yeah.
The gore's great. It's not super over the top like some films are that are just complete gore fest.
Yeah.
It's mostly just like severed body parts, but there's enough of it to satiate your inner gorehound there.
Satiate, yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah. I read my word of the day calendar.
All right.
I still have those. But at the same time, it's not over the top, but it's still very good and well done there. Which, like I said, you would expect nothing less from those guys. Great effects artists in the industry, and they've been doing it for a long time. So
Rocco, let me ask you.
all right.
On a scale.
Hold on. We got so our scale, my scale. We'll see if I let this kid chime in, but maybe he'll sway me up or down. But I'm the host, so anyways. So the scale. So we're rating everything out of pancakes. So it'll be out of maximum of 5 pancakes. And maybe we'll throw some syrup on top if it really deserves it. And maybe some butter if you're into butter. And, if you like your jam and jelly on your pancakes, we'll maybe throw some of that on there. I know I ain't getting any fucking toppings from this fucking shitty establishment.
Damn Deloris.
Goddamn fucking Deloris. Is this bit getting old yet?
All right.
We're going to run it in the ground every week.
So you got 5 potential
5 potential pancakes.
pancakes. Out of a score of 0 to 5 pancakes, what do you give this movie?
So I'm not going to lie. And the scale isn't necessarily based on perfection. A lot of it's based on entertainment. If I find a movie highly entertaining, even if it's not the best in acting, effects, etc., there's still a charm to it that's going to give it a higher rating to me. Now, from this film, from Intruder, I really feel like you couldn't ask for more from a slasher movie. It's fun, it's campy, it's got gore, it's got all sorts of fun stuff in it that you expect from slashers. And I never heard of this film until like a few years ago, until I got into listening to other people on YouTube and whatnot talk about horror movies. And that's where I started really getting back into horror movies and starting to watch some of these hidden gems and whatnot that I hadn't found. And this is a gem. If you've never heard of this movie, it's worth your time. It is definitely a cult classic. And like I said, people inside the horror community kind of know it. I don't know how many people in you're Joe Schmo. I think you kind of relate to that. You like horror, but you're not like invested in the community and whatnot and would know all these cult horror movies. But this was one that's been on my radar for a while and I've been wanting to watch. And like I said, I was not disappointed. It's everything I want from a slasher film. I could honestly say it's probably better than some of the mainstream ones. Like I would probably say this film might be better than Friday the 13th. And I do enjoy Friday the 13th. I got some nitpicks with that, but if we ever get around to that film, we'll talk about that one. We'll get around to it sooner or later, but I'm going to give this my highest rating. 5 pancakes.
5 pancakes.
Yeah.
5 pancakes.
I really impressed me. Like I said, simple, fun, campy, great effects, likable characters. What more can you want from a slasher film? And entertaining. Am I going to, compare it like, what about like something like Jaws? Well, yeah, Jaws is like probably a 5 pancake movie too. We'll get around to that one day too. But it's like, for different reasons. And like I said, entertainment definitely skews my score for all of this. It's not like I'm not trying to compare things are better. It's entertainment. Could you argue that I should probably just give it 4 based on that fact? Like it's no creme de la creme masterpiece, but when I think about it, it really is a great slasher film. It's one of the best out there, I think. It really impressed me that much.
I liked it a lot. I did.
So, not that you're allowed to rate things because you're just my minion here. Well,
I mean,
do you
have
what's your
skill.
sure?
I'm not using pancakes. I'm using cannolis over here.
God,
I love myself some cannoli. So I'm going to give it, out of 5 cannolis, I'm going to give it 4.5.
4.5.
I
could almost knock off a half a pancake there too, but like I said, I love Sam and Ted Raimi and stuff like that. And like you throw Ted Raimi in a movie, he always plays these little bit parts for the most part, but he's hilarious in everything he does.
This is still, even with the 4.5, this is still one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. So it's going up in my
Oh yeah, this is
at
one
least
that I
top
feel
20,
like with repeat viewings. So we watched it once together, and then when we decided, hey, let's finally get this podcast off the ground that I've been wanting to do forever, and I asked you what movie we should do first, and you went back to the one we just watched, Intruder. I'm like, all right, I have no problem. We'll cover that one. And we're not just going to cover all movies that are great. Hopefully, we'll cover some stinkers here and there. We'll cover all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
Just for some insight, or not insight, some just extra knowledge, it has a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
52.
That's critic score, and I'm sure the non-reviewer scores, I forget what they call it, the audience score. And it has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
I understand, that's reasonable for entertaining. Like, when you get into the sixes up for IMDb stuff, that's where you have a film that's probably entertaining to watch. And, sure, there's some of the weird voodoo stuff, like you said, where, how did he get outside? How did he get that guy up there? It doesn't take away from the film.
That's
if
not...
this was a lesser film, those would be things that would be knocking it down like a half a pancake.
That's not...
that would be like, this could be like a 3 or 3.5, but I'm going to knock it down to, but...
It's not where my 0.5 comes out of. It doesn't come out of that.
Yeah, I understand.
I
understand you're probably reserving, for things like, if we're talking about, The Shining, well, are you going to compare The Shining to Intruder and say they're equal when you're giving 5 out of 5s? I understand that, but like I said, it's not 100% a masterpiece artwork scale, more so as, was I entertained? And how much was I entertained, and what entertained me? And the more things that entertain me, add more. Surprisingly, though, you know what this movie was lacking? I'm not going to hold it against it because I don't think it needed it. There's no nudity, unlike almost all the other slashers back in the day.
And nudity always gets a bump up for me.
Oh, I feel like my rule is any movie with topless women, I should say, or female nudity. I am a man, cold-blooded male here.
Nipples.
Great, because trust me, there's some I've seen. Especially when I get into some of these foreign horror movies, I've seen my fair share of dongs that I'm like, and didn't need to see that. Long as there's female nudity, I feel like
both,
right?
Or just the
yeah. Just my personal taste. I feel like that's a minimum score of at least 2 pancakes. I would almost say 2.5, but I've also seen, there's also probably somewhere it's like, I didn't want to see her topless because it's like some
I'm not gonna review
old haggard,
or pancakes.
Yeah, I feel like bare bones minimum with nudity in a film. I
always say
if
there is boobs in movies, it gets a higher rating for me. I mean, if
for sure,
bare breasts,
so
it gets a higher.
If there was some boobs in here, that you would knock it up.
Well,
it would become the 5 out of 5.
It might have got some. It might have got some pistachios on the end of my cannolis.
They put powdered sugar on cannolis.
Yeah,
maybe sprinkle some powdered sugar on there.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing pancakes, some syrup on top.
Yeah. We're not, the only people. I want to read. I found this review on Amazon. I think it's kind of funny. This is from Slave. That's his name, not a normal name, but Slave. A verified purchase.
Say Slave.
Yeah.
Oh man, what kind of?
I'm sorry.
Is this really the review you want to be reading?
I mean, this review is kind of crazy. It's a big theme of this movie.
Oh geez.
All right, so here we go.
Welcome to the internet.
Slave says this is a guess who's So, okay. Steve says this is a Guess Who's the Killer slasher movie.
Say Steve?
I was changing it because you don't want to say that word.
Okay.
Can I finish?
Yeah, continue.
I'm going to call him S now. Now, I'm just going to call him Slash. That makes sense. Slash for Slash. This is a Guess Who's the Killer slasher movie, so know what to expect. And by the way, it doesn't take an moron to know who the killer is. Anyways, it's got some real nifty kill scenes, and it makes me horny. Yeah, shove that up your uppity Care Bear and Pokemon loving fruity anuses. The plot is good, the acting was moronic, the gore factor is high, and done right, and so forth. I love this movie. This guy is bonkers.
The acting was that bad, though. The acting was serviceable. There's some decent performances in it. I don't think anybody was like, over the top excellent in the film,
I-
but I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad anywhere.
I don't like agree with this guy stuff. I just wanted to read the crazy review. It's a crazy movie. I want to
Maybe
read
that
a
should be our
crazy review.
podcast, reading crazy reviews of crazy movies, crazy reviews from the internet, the podcast. Anyways, you got anything else to say before we wrap this
No.
up? Because we've been
I
going
mean,
on
Dolores
forever
is
here.
taking forever with her orders. I want to go. I want to go to a
fucking
supermarket right
God
now. And
damn
I,
fucking Dolores.
I
I could have gone to
I'm gonna-
fucking I could have gone to the fucking Walnut Lake Market, got me some
Yeah.
Hungry Jack generic fucking pancake mix. Fuck, not Hungry Jack. They make fucking potatoes, don't they? Is there Hungry Jack?
I don't know.
Some Bisquick. Get some Bisquick pancake mix here and fucking make my own fucking pancakes. So anyways, I guess that's all for this time. Thanks for listening. I know this first one went on a little longer than normal, but hopefully we'll trim them down as we get better. Maybe I can trim it down in editing a little bit too. And like I said, I won't have to delve into the backstory on what's going on with this podcast and everything. Oh, I didn't give any background on myself, but I'll do that next time. I'll give some background on why you should listen to me talk about horror movies. You got anything else before we sign off, Scary Perry?
No.
Nope. All right. Well, for Scary Perry, I'm the MadPancaker. Join us next time as we talk about a film that stars one half of the Wet Bandits and involves some chemical hazard urban disposal. So,
You mean the Sticky Bandits?
did I say this? No, the Wet Bandits. They were the Wet Bandits in the first one.
And then they became the Sticky.
Then they
Bandits.
became the Sticky Bandits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jeez, you're screwing me up over here, Scary Perry.
That's my
Jeez,
job.
I'm gonna have to
That's
fire
my
this kid and find a
job.
new co-host / minion. Anyways, that's all for now. Check, please. That's gonna be our sign off. See, because we're still driving this bit into the ground. That we're in a diner. So check, please.
Check, please.
Check, please.
Check, please.
Check, please.
Did we say we're in a diner earlier?
Yes. I said it like halfway through. I forgot to establish that.
Yeah. I was like, what is he talking
No,
about?
nobody's gonna.
Are we still
They're
recording?
gonna hate that bit.
We're
They're
still
gonna hate
recording.
that
You're
bit.
gonna
But
have
I'm
to
still
cut-
gonna. I'm gonna still
have-
end with check, please.
gonna have to
Anyways,
edit.
final check, please. Check, please. No, I'm gonna say it like Bill. Oh crap! I can't do my Bill now. I've done it so much.
Shouldn't we do it at the same time?
Well, maybe. God, hold on. I'm just crazy about this store. Okay, now I can do it. Check, please. Catch you next time.
The International House of Horror.